Hi. Good morning, my friends. This is my first Naked Truth of 2025. I hope that your New Year's was fantastic and a new year, a new calendar year anyway, is the start of a new, a new you. And for me, that's no different. I'm here with a little life update, and this is what's happening. Um, Last year, well, before I start talking about what is happening this year, I should talk about what happened last year. So last year on December 31st, we, my partner Anders and I, got into my trailer, and we set off for an adventure, and it was going to be 2 months. We left Pahrump and we went to Las Vegas. We stayed there for like 5 days. Then we went to near Parker, Arizona, and we stayed there in California for a month. And then we went to Bullhead City and we stayed there for a month. And then by that time, we had made arrangements to volunteer and take care of a ghost town. So we came back here to Pahrump and tried to get his trailer ready for sale. We listed his trailer. We did all sorts of things. We took everything out of his trailer. We put everything that he owned into storage. We had everything arranged that we had somebody to show the trailer if somebody wanted to. We put the trailer on RV Trader. We tried to sell the trailer, and the trailer never sold. Then we took care of the ghost town. At some point, I was in talks with somebody who was pretending to want to invest in our story, my story, and me telling it and writing a book and all of these things. And he had me really going, but it didn't happen. And I crashed. And then we came back to Pahrump because I thought that we thought there was going to be an opportunity, and that opportunity was gone just the same. And it's really made me crash. And I'm not going to explain it in this video, but I'm just going to touch the tip of the iceberg. I've been really low energy and just really low since we got back here. And part of me thinks that's because I'm not really supposed to be here. Part of me thinks, like, you're not supposed to go backwards in your life. And you're not supposed to just, like, it's an evolution, and you're not supposed to be stagnant. And we came back to this park that we're in. And the park that we're in has changed ownership. And in my mind, things should change ownership. Things should always get better, but it really actually got worse here. The nice part about recording your life is I can just show you with video proof. So this is how the park was before, and I was actually taking this video because they just cut all these bushes out there.
No privacy here anymore.
Yeah, and I was not happy with it. And here's another video of what it looked like before. Okay, and here's what it looks like now.
All white, and
It's
just
flipping
down there.
Deplorable and sad. And I really felt that. I'm very extremely sensitive to energy, and energy is a big deal for me. I look at everything as energy. I'm going to do a whole video on energy, so when I do that, I'll link it here. But energy is very, very important. for me, and I'm extremely sensitive to it. And let's see, I decided to stay home for Christmas. I didn't have any money. The week before, also, if you're following my story, my debit card was hacked, and then I really didn't have any money. But I just wasn't feeling festive. Chewy, let it go. Let it go, buddy. I just wasn't feeling festive, and I didn't do Christmas, which is fine because I have different views as far as, holidays and ceremonies and religions and stuff. But that's okay. I can still be festive because people I love are into that. Anyway, I just wanted to stay home because I've just been in this like low state of energy and just trying and trying and trying. And, I'm working, I'm trying to build my channel. I have 5 YouTube channels. And I have 2 that are ones that are like my top 2, and then my other ones I post not as often, but at some point I'm going to build those. So that's why they're kind of out there now. That was a sidebar. Anyway, I didn't go anywhere, but my partner Anders did. And this is really tough to say, but he didn't have a good time. In fact, his experience, he texted me and said he wasn't in a safe place. And he's had a lot of struggles in his life. And he's struggled with addiction. He's been in detox places, and he's just had struggles. Anyway, Chewy, baby, come here. Don't get me started on the blowing. I don't know if you can hear them blowing here, but it's very distracting with my ADHD brain, so I apologize. But there's somebody outside with a leaf blower. So anyway, my partner went to back home, and he resurrected some trauma wounds that I don't think he was expecting to. And he has a lot of anxiety that he's really not been able to manage in any which way, and it really controls his life. And when he was gone, I realized something, and it's really hard to say, and I know that it can sound very, very hurtful, but I was like in this state of bliss while he was gone. And I look at everything as energy, and I realize that it's like my energy level, or the level of consciousness that I have compared to the level of consciousness that he has, is 2 different things. And that doesn't mean that I'm better than him. That doesn't mean I'm above him. It is a vertical, visual, but most people are here, Earth is here. And since I've had this awakening, and since I do a lot of practices to keep my vibration up, that's a lot of times where I'm at, and he's a lot of times here. And then when we try to talk, we can't talk. That's a sidebar, I think. Anyway, he was gone, and he was having an awful time. He was very sick. He got physically sick. He was not well. It was the trip from hell. It was really not good for him. But it was very, very necessary, because he had to go, and he had to experience those things, and he had to see what it was like to be there in this state that he's in. Because all of this time in all of his life, he didn't really know what was wrong with him, and he just wanted to escape. And we were able to put the pieces together, and we were able to figure out what it was together. But that's not to say that it hasn't been a lot of fighting and arguing and really kind of hell between the two of us for a while. And when he was gone, I realized, man, I feel really good. Like, I don't feel drained. I don't feel heavy. I don't feel the weight. And it doesn't mean that like my life is easier, because it's not. I still have problems. Like, I completely basically ran out on my life. Like, I didn't even change my mail, change of address for a year. So if you don't think like I have a financial legacy of shit behind me, like it's just that when you vibrate on a higher plane of consciousness, you still have the things that weigh you down, but you're here. You're not all the way here. But if you're always living in lower states of consciousness, like energy, like your worry, desire, grief, fear, anger, which are all low states of consciousness, if when life hits you, you have nowhere to go and you can't crawl out of it. And it's wild, because that's how life is. Life is meant for us to be living in these lower states of consciousness. Earth is very hard to be at. So long story short, we had a lot of fighting. We had a lot of anger in between each other. And he had the kind of childhood trauma that really doesn't give you a voice. And there's a lot of control. And I was very different because I've always been very, very independent. There wasn't a lot of control. So I was like the figure it out kid, the DIY person. And like when we met, like he's gone through so many changes, so many changes. But, and that's kind of his story. I mean, I'll tell a little bit, and I know that he won't mind too much, but you know, he was in and out of rehab, or not in and out. I think he went to rehab twice for alcohol, and alcohol is a coping and escape mechanism. So if you become an addict to cope and escape your life, it's really actually a good place to hang out if you can't deal with your life. And I've been there. I did that, so I understand that. It was actually only cannabis that made me stop drinking alcohol for the most part. But I was on a bad road with vodka, so I get that. But what I didn't get was I needed to rely on him because I felt like I was going through a lot. And, I had this awakening, and I really needed somebody strong to lean on. And I got very, very resentful of him because he was unable to express really what was going on because he didn't know. And I think that that's a lot of people that grew up with childhood trauma, including myself. You just don't know what you don't know. Like I had my practitioner, I was receiving, there was a Chinese medicine school. There's a Chinese medicine school in Vegas. And you can go there to the clinic and get acupuncture for like $40. At least that's what it was when I was going there. So when I went into that, she said, they tell you to list all of your traumas, and I like made a whole list. And it was this long. And I remember them coming in and holding my hand and was like, "You've had so much traumas. How do you deal with it?" And I was like, "It's just life. Everybody's has traumas." And they're like, "You had an exceptional amount, and if you work on yourself, you're not going to have any health problems." And I was like, it took me like 6 months for it to sink in. And this is kind of the breakthrough that my partner and I had. And there's been a lot of fights and a lot of resentment and a lot of really pure ugliness because I think that we truly are twin flames. And we're like each other's mirrors, right? So a lot of my reactions to the way he was handling and processing or not handling and processing things was very similar to trauma that he experienced. His reaction to that was very similar to trauma I experienced that. And because I have a different perspective than most, because I'm intuitive or awake or aware or whatever, I finally saw what was happening. And I was finally able to be like, well, I can't say that it was all pretty because, I mean, we broke up. We screamed and yelled, and there was a lot of tears and there was a lot of crying. And on December 31st, I cried my eyes out. I bawled all day, and I was like, you know what? Everything I did for a whole year and a half was wasted because you didn't heal yourself, and I want to move forward, but I can't move forward until you heal yourself. And I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, but like, we don't have any money, but I can't do this anymore. Excuse me. And then I woke up yesterday and I was like, you know what? I didn't go through a Kundalini awakening to not help people. And I didn't go through a year and a half of my life with this person that I can have extreme highs and lows with, but the highs are so good, you know? And I don't want to be there for the lows because I never wanted to be in a relationship with somebody who wasn't healed. And I didn't want to be in a relationship because I wasn't healed. And that's one of the reasons I was an escort, right? But what I realized was, you know, I woke up yesterday and I was like, this isn't the end. It's a new year. It's the first day of a new year. And this is a new beginning. And that's what it's all about. So we had this very triumphant end of our year, and we were like crying and shit, we're not going to do that. And then we woke up with the new day of a calendar year. I'm emphasizing calendar for a reason. And it was like a fresh start, you know? And it was like, this is going to be really good because we talked a lot about energy. We watched some videos about energy. I explained it how I see energy and how energy affects me. And he understands it. And I think it was just such a beneficial conversation because, well, first, one thing, he knows what he needs to work on. And he wants to work on himself. Like, nobody who has problems really wants to have those problems, but sometimes it needs somebody else on the outside to say, this is my perspective. Am I correct in this? And I don't mean it like, am I correct? But I just want him to be like, does this sound familiar? Because this is what it looks like to me. And you need somebody else on the outside sometimes to give you that perspective. Yeah. So anyway, yesterday was a new day, and we woke up and we went to the hot tub and we had some coffee together, and like, we just really enjoyed each other. Now I signed up for Whatnot. We wanted to do a Whatnot live sale. And Whatnot's this platform that's like QVC, but social media. And I don't know if you've heard of it, but I wanted to do that. I got all razzed up. I got signed up. I was like, let's do our first. Let's not even think about it. Let's sell stuff out of the unit. and I got him all jazzed up. We watched videos. We're like, we're going to go get this box. I have this huge box of like Harley shirts, and I'm like, let's just sell all of them. And it'll be so much fun, and it'll give us so much dopamine, and it's a good way to start off the new year. And then I got an email that I was declined from Whatnot, and I don't know why, so that's just something I have to deal with. But it kind of did take the wind out of our sails, and I said, let's do a live anyway, and we just kind of smoked hookah. It was not a very good live. It was not very planned. I know I should have some intention and planning when I do a video, but I didn't, and whatever. So, long story short, Anders is still moving out. Anders is going to a park that's about 5 miles from here, and I'm going to stay here. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Well, I mean, I feel many different emotions. I can't just knock it down to one. There's no overall one. I'm multifaceted, so why couldn't I feel multifaceted emotions, right? So I'm scared. I've relied on him for a year. Being with him in this space allows me to meditate and, escape into my other worlds that I like to play in and, talk to my guides in. And now I have to be more cognizant of, like, what's happening. What else? I don't know. It's just, there's just a lot of logistics. He's going to be there without a vehicle. He has an e-bike, but he does not have a vehicle. And that's a challenge. And there's going to be a lot of silent time. And I think people that experience a type of trauma like him can sometimes find comfort in a chaotic environment and not a lot of comfort in silence. I find a lot of peace, a lot of comfort in silence, and I get decision fatigue, and there's just so many things that I want to do, and this is going to stop all of that. But on a side note, it's going to cost us so much more to live homelessly, and that's okay, because this is putting us both on the same page and moving forward. So I went to bed on New Year's thinking that I was single and broke and had to start all over and everything was a waste. And after sleeping and talking, having conversations with my spirits and my guides, it's like, no, you don't just abandon something. And what kind of healer would you be if you're not going to help the one person who has helped and loved you the most in your whole entire life? What you don't like is his trauma, and he doesn't like that either. So now that you've finally helped him figure out the root of the problem, like, now he's got this blueprint and he can go and work on that, and you can support him because your energy's better, because you have all the time to recharge and do the things you do, because now you live alone. And it's not ideal. I haven't even figured out how much it's going to cost, but whatever it costs right now, we're not making it. And I think we're going into debt for it. And he's kind of shielded me from that because I have financial PTSD, and it's time for me to work on that too. So money's not bad. I've thought money's been bad my whole life, but money's not bad. And I can do good things with money just like bad people could do bad things with money. And this is me working on my subconscious and my problems. So it's just given us a chance to put ourselves first and work on ourselves so that we can be the best versions of ourselves for each other. And that's what I think love and relationship is all about. Being the best version for yourself, for each other. And I'm sorry, but I think society has it wrong. It's all about being the best version of yourself for each other. You're walking each other home. And that's what I intend to do. So, in the upcoming weeks, I'm going to try to share. I'm working really feverishly. I'm working on my website. I'm trying to put offerings out there for healing sessions and things like that so that I can help other people get past their traumas and help identify what their traumas are. And I'm also starting a Shopify store, and I'm learning everything as I go. And it's crazy because I feel like I have like this whole like life here on the planet and this whole like mission work that I have to do, and that's like my divine purpose. And I'm not I'm not I'm not sad about it. Very grateful. I'm just excited now that we're going to be able to like I can really hone in, and I'm super excited. I'm going to keep sharing it. I'm trying to make more intentional videos. My ADHD gets me really excited, and I just let me do a video right now, and that doesn't really serve me. So I'm going to work better on doing the things more often that serve me, and little steps make up big steps. So that's what I'm doing for the year. And I hope that you do the same, and I hope you figure out what works for you, and I hope that you take things into consideration that aren't working for you and just change them, because life is not meant to be stagnant. It is meant to be changing, evolving all of the time. And we've all been programmed to think otherwise. So I love you. I hope you open your mind a bit.